During the holiday, one's mind turns to grace and to mercy. And the policy embodiment of mercy is a constitutional provision that gives the President of the United States the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States. We know that our justice system is deeply, deeply imperfect. People are convicted who are innocent of their crimes, sometimes for capital offenses. In other cases, someone is in the wrong place at the wrong time and ends up with a sentence so harsh it offends our sense of proportionality. And in some cases, the person convicted has simply transformed himself so completely from the person that committed the crime that to bestow mercy would be to give a new person the chance of redemption through a new life. The bad news is that President Obama has used his ability to pardon less than any modern president has. In 4 years, he's only pardoned and commuted 23 sentences, while at the same point in his presidency, George W. Bush had pardoned and commuted 31 sentences. So I thought it would be useful to briefly tell the story of two men asking the president for a pardon whose cases I and many, many, many others believe demand mercy. The first is Don Siegelman, the former Democratic governor of Alabama who was prosecuted by the Bush administration's Department of Justice during the same period of time that we know Karl Rove was contacting federal prosecutors and pushing them towards politically advantageous prosecutions and helping to push out the ones that didn't go along. The DOJ launched its first investigation of Siegelman in 2002, the same year Siegelman lost a closely contested gubernatorial election to a Republican. 2 years later, that investigation led to an indictment of Siegelman on a Medicaid fraud charge that was such a terrible case the judge threw it out for lack of evidence before a single witness even had a chance to testify. Then, in 2005, the U.S. Attorney's Office indicted Siegelman again, this time on RICO charges for allegedly giving a position on a state board to a donor in direct exchange for $500,000 in donations to a campaign the governor was running, not his own, to start a state lottery to better fund the state's schools. The initial prosecutor managing that case was U.S. Attorney Laura Canary, the wife of Bill Canary, a Republican political operative, associate of Karl Rove's, and get this, the campaign manager for the Republican governor Bob Riley, who Siegelman had almost defeated in 2002 and who Siegelman had vowed to run against in 2006. That's right. The U.S. prosecuting attorney managing his case was married to the man managing the campaign of Siegelman's opponent. The star witness for the prosecution, a former Siegelman aide who claimed he saw the governor with a check in his hand after meeting the big donor, was demonstrably wrong about the timeline and also, get this, had been extorting Alabama businessmen and cooperated with prosecutors to avoid a 10-year sentence for his own crimes. Nevertheless, after 2 deadlocks, the jury ultimately convicted Siegelman on 6 counts and acquitted him on 27, while the federal judge sentenced him to 7 years in prison. Over 100 former state attorneys general, Republican and Democrat, have called for clemency for Siegelman, along with constitutional scholars and even Rosa Parks' attorney. Siegelman's daughter, Dana, who calls her father a political prisoner, has posted a petition to free him. It has just over 41,000 signatures, and you can find it at free-don.org.